Before 1967, the eastern Nigeria and Ohafia in Abia North was a haven of cultural tranquility, quiet evenings, cool evening walks in the glade, and agricultural bloom. But when the guns finally went silent in 1970, the land did not rejoice. It only exhaled. Because in eastern Nigeria, survival did not feel like victory. It felt like punishment that continued. This is the story of Ezinne and life in Ohafia in the years before the end of the Biafran War. Ezinne was young when she met Kalu. Not the kind of love born in comfort, but the kind that grows when tomorrow is already uncertain. They met near the stream where women fetched water at dawn, where laughter was soft because fear listened. Kalu was gentle, and he was in love. A man whose hands trembled not from fear, but from knowing what war could steal. They fell in love quickly, because war teaches people not to postpone joy. They did not marry in a church. They did not marry in the village square. They married inside the forest. When the sirens roared, when the sky split open with metal birds, the people of Ohafia ran into the bush. Children on backs, elders carried like memories. And there, under tall trees trembling with explosions, Ezinne became a wife. No music, no feast, only whispered prayers and trembling vows. War did not stop for love. Love learned to hide. Bombs did not ask who was innocent. Hunger did not care who was young. The federal blockade strangled the East. Salt became a dream. Gary became luxury. Children chewed boiled leaves and swallowed hope with tears. Mothers traded heirlooms for cups of rice. Fathers watched their children's ribs count themselves. And still, Ezinne survived. Ezinne carried her first child with a body already thin from hunger. She bled fear and hope together. Each siren made the baby kick, as if the unborn already understood danger. Kalu tried to protect them, but war laughs at promises. Her first son was born, just months before the war ended. She named him Chikwudi. God exists. But God was quiet that year. Kalu did not live to see the end of the war. He died not from a bullet, but from hunger that ate strength first. Then breath. Ezinne became a widow, before she became a mother in peace. The war ended, but suffering stayed. £20 was all they gave the defeated. £20 for lost homes. £20 for dead husbands. £20 for stolen futures. Ezinne returned to a village that looked familiar, but felt like a stranger. She buried grief quietly, because widows were not allowed to be loud. Ezinne remarried later, not for love, but for survival. She bore 5 children in total, 5 mouths, 5 destinies she carried alone. She farmed cassava until her palms cracked. She hawked firewood with babies tied to her back. She slept hungry so her sons could eat shamefully small portions. She taught them respect before wealth, honesty before comfort, endurance before joy. There were nights she cried without sound, days she smiled without strength. When sickness came, she prayed instead of going to hospitals she could not afford. When neighbors mocked her poverty, she swallowed pride like medicine. She became both father and mother, discipline and comfort, fear and courage. Sometimes she would sit alone at dusk, staring into nothing. The forest wedding, the sirens, the hunger, Kalu's face. War never truly ends inside survivors. Her children grew, slowly, painfully. Not all succeeded the same way, but none forgot where they came from. They learned that strength is not loud, that sacrifice leaves no applause, that mothers are countries too. They bleed so others may live. Ezinne did not write books. She did not give speeches. But she raised 5 children, with hands scarred by war, and a heart that refused to die. And if you listen closely in Ohafia, When the wind moves through cassava leaves, you will hear her story, not as history, but as survival. This story is dedicated to the women who survived the Biafra War and raised nations in silence.